this. All right, there we go. Just one of my clients said she wanted to attend, but she wasn't able to. She said, and a couple other people messaged me and said, hey, do you have it recorded? And I have been remembering to record them, and I do actually save them, and I actually put them over on my YouTube channel. So I'll put a link. I'll put a link before the end of today over to YouTube. And you can always, like and subscribe. It's a little bit of a pitch, but it's okay. You can always like and subscribe to YouTube, and then you'll get notified when there's new content being put up on YouTube. I think I'm at about 62 subscribers. So something, if you get to like 100, you get some extra things. So do me a favor. So just as a thank you for the content that you're going to receive today, that would be nice. Also, I may actually put my Google review, because one of my colleagues is like, why don't you just share your Google review link all the time? Because sometimes people get great content today and they don't even become a client. So I will share that. So again, if you enjoyed today, or hop over to Google and leave a review that you did like today. And also, if you came in from Meetup, I know I'm sounding like Tom Bilo with all the promos at the beginning. My apologies, Larry, but it's okay. If you came in from Meetup, you can always go back, and Meetup says, hey, how was the event today? And you can just say, hey, today's event was good. You give me a rating, because it just lets people know that, like, lots of times there's lots of stuff on Meetup and people just don't know what's going on Meetup. So it gives some feedback. I may actually take a screen capture of just to say that, people are here today, but it's okay. You're here. So let's get on with it. I did this talk a couple of weeks ago, and I did this talk on Monday for a realtor colleague, and he does a bi-weekly call with his agents. He's got about 30 agents in his brokerage, and we did this talk for them on Monday. And I'm like, well, let's keep going. It's super relevant. I'm actually going to do this talk on the 22nd of December. So the great thing is you're getting this on the 2nd of December. So you still have like 29 days to implement. 29 days to implement yet. Those people that are going to hear on the 22nd, they're only going to have about 8 days to implement this stuff. But yeah, and just to get started off, somebody's putting some stuff in the chat, so that's great. So I'm just going to mute that person. That's okay. That's okay. It's not rude. It's just they may not know. I lost my train of thought there, but that's okay. I'll get it back in a second. So just in the chat, if you want to, you could just type in if you're in Canada, or where in Canada. If you're not in Canada, that's also good, but just let me know if you're not in Canada, because we'll make sure we kind of tailor the conversation. So if everyone's in Canada, great. If you're not in Canada and you're not on camera, then you can just type in the chat where you're from. In the United States. There we go. Perfect. Some of the stuff, I'll make sure I give you some content that's relevant to my American friends, because a bunch of the stuff is relevant to US as well. But a couple of my first things may not be, so that's okay. You have equivalents. So anything else? Toronto, yeah. BC, thanks. We're coast to coast almost today. In the US, Newmarket, yeah, big town Newmarket. Larry, like if you're in this job, Larry, it's probably like an hour and a half from your house. This job that's 3 hours north of Toronto. It's probably like 20 minutes from Larry's house. He's so far north in Oakville. That's great. Okay, let's enough of that. Let's get on with it. Then same thing, if you have questions as we get going today, you can just type them in the chat. That way I'll make sure I do my best to answer any of those questions before we wrap up. I'm good till like 1 o'clock. I can go a little bit longer. But if you have a hard stop at 1 and you got to jump off and go back to work because you're on your lunch hour, don't worry, you won't insult me. People come and go. It's just sometimes they're here and they don't like the content, so they leave. It's okay. Stay if you like it. Go if you don't like it. Don't if you don't like it, don't waste your time being here. But I'm pretty sure I'll give you some stuff that's good. I'm gonna put in a couple of things in the chat right now, just in case. Sometimes I forget. So right there's my Calendly link. You can book a 15-minute call with me. So if you have questions or you have some personal stuff and you don't want to like bring out your personal stuff on the call, that's okay. I appreciate that. You can jump on there and you can book a time with me next week. Don't do it today because I'm busy already today, but there's some time next week or before the end of the year is good. Also, if you really quick, if you like what you hear today, and I actually have a couple of my clients that are here today. If you like what you hear today, I do have spots. I am accepting new clients. Some people say, man, you must be so busy, you don't have any room for new clients. I do have room. I have capacity for the upcoming tax season. So if you like today and you want to, it's okay. You can reach out and you can become a client if it works out. If we're a good fit, we can work together. All right, let's get on the show here. Hoping to hear nuggets where I can get people to get, yes, no problem. And we'll do it. Let's do this right now. Because it's always good because people come and go, and it's always good to kind of get some of the stuff out of the way. So just a quick shout out to some of the people in the room. They don't pay me to do this. It's just a nice thing to do. So I'll do it for you, Larry, so you don't have to sound like your pitch. So my friend Larry Hoover, Larry's not just a friend. Larry's actually my insurance broker. So Larry looks after PNC. If you don't know what PNC is, property and casualty, but it's really like home and auto. Let's be plain simple. Home for me, it's home and auto. So I know, just really quick, I had plans through the CPA and through an employment plan, and we found out that there were some big gaping holes in those policies. And then when we just moved to a new place. So again, Larry got to do the work all over again, make sure everything was good for the new place. And yeah, Larry does a great job. He's a broker. Even though he's in Newmarket, he can service you in Ontario. So yeah, so that's just a quick thank you for Larry, because Larry's showing up today. And my friend Diane's here too. Diane, nice to see you. If you're doing anything around, Diane's a fantastic coach. AD, is it, you tell me, Diane. I don't want to say it's just ADD and ADHD.
I know everybody's kind of weird about
like, oh,
it.
what is that?
I work with sexuality and ADHD. So basically I help people understand how to better communicate and how to have a satisfying and happy sex life. Because when people are enjoying their life in all aspects, they have a much better quality of life.
There we go.
So that's my awesome job. So, and I specifically do have a specialization in working with people with different brains. So people think, well, I don't have ADHD or whatever, but ADHD is about a malfunction in your executive functions. So you need to have 2 malfunctions in 2 executive functions to have ADHD. So if you have malfunctions in just 1 executive function, you may not have ADHD, but you still may need my services. Oh. So that has to do with organization of not just your paperwork, but your home, your clothes, maybe in your thoughts, maybe bringing things out. It has to do with prioritizing, finishing the things you start or getting started. It has to do with a lot of life's things, especially our emotions, regulating emotions, being able to focus on things we're not interested in. So, those are a lot of the things that I work with. But mostly what I love most about my work is helping people have a better relationship with themselves, not just with other people.
Okay, awesome. And if you want more, then Diane's on social. She actually has a meetup group. So if you want to find more about it, then just connect with her. That's okay. And people, you can put your contact information in the chats if you want. Not a paid advertisement. Just when people come on to support me, I kind of give them a quick minute. So let's get into it. Enough. We're quarter after. If people are going to be here, they're here. You're here. Let's get into the good stuff. So tax time. It's tax time's coming very quickly. Like winter's coming. Winter's coming, kind of like Game of Thrones, winter's coming, but so is tax season's time. And there's 5 things that you can do this month, in the month of December. January is too late. If you wait to do this in January, too late. If you wait to do this stuff in March, too late for this year. It's good for next year, but too late for 2022. All right, so anyone get my guess? Anyone really know? Anyone? Maybe there's stuff that you do too. So if you have any ideas, you can just bang them out in the chat. You can type them in the chat, so then people can always save the chat and save some of them. If someone wants to be, I don't know if wants to be my note taker, but if you like stuff, someone can. Maybe I'll. Here's what if someone does something for. If you want to do something for me, I'll do something for you. So if anyone wants to be like the secretary, doesn't have to.
Well, I'm
secretary.
already taking notes.
Yeah, but if
so-
someone wants to like type stuff in the chat for other people, that's awesome.
right.
So if someone does that, I will send you a copy of this book. And this book is called, it's from my colleague Doug Collins. It's a home-based business guide to how to write off almost everything. So if someone wants to volunteer to be the note taker in the chat for me today, you'll get a copy of that book. Hey, on the fly, I didn't even think of that till just now. I like that idea. And I'll mail it to you. I'll pay the postage. As long as you're in like North America. All right, let's get going. So Diane, yes, Diane did pick one. Winner. She picked one of the 5, which is donate. And Tuesday, we're a little bit late. Tuesday, I think, was Give Tuesday. If you donated on Tuesday, some organizations were matching donations, but don't wait till just Give Tuesday. You can give anytime, but also specifically if you give in the month of December, and you donate more than $20 to a registered charity or organization that issues you tax receipts, then you can claim that. Make sure you save that receipt and let your accountant or bookkeeper or tax specialist know that you donated. Because if you donate and you forget to tell your accountant, he doesn't put it, or she doesn't put it on your tax return. So make sure you let them know that you donated and have some receipts. Nice when they come in, if you get emails from them, it's nice to just put them in a little folder. I created a folder just in like Outlook, or you can like detach them, save a little folder on your hard drive, but also just a folder in your email and just say like tax receipts. So as tax receipts come, just move that email over to the folder on your Gmail labeled tax receipts. And then it's super easy at the end of the year. You just go to that file, print, or just scan or just save them. You don't even need like the actual receipts. You just need to keep them. And then just give a summary to your accountant. So it's donations, number 1. Unfortunately, like it's still good to donate. Like if you have friends that have something big happen to them and they're running a GoFundMe, it's still nice to donate, but just remember those donations are not tax deductible because in most cases it's not a registered charity. Also, sometimes people are donating to the US. Is this something new? I knew about it and I didn't add it before because sometimes there's, oh, everyone's in Canada. But actually I have an American here, but it's a little bit different. It's still, I'm sure if you donate in the US, probably it's quite similar. It's most donations run on the reason I say this, it runs on a calendar year. So if you're donate from, Otter AI is very good. I actually do have Otter AI. Maybe I'll remember next time to turn on Otter AI and I could have a whole blog written for me while I speak. Next time. Actually, what you can do is Otter AI. I can actually just take the recorded MP4 and upload it, and Otter AI will actually just transcribe it for me. Also good too. Yeah, super awesome. Thanks for the reminder. Sometimes we forget what software we have, or maybe I forget what software I have. Maybe you don't. But anyway, so back to the donations is sounds like I'm a little attention deficit today, Diane. We're jumping all over the place, but donations. So it works on the calendar year. The reason I say donate in December is if you donate in December and you're doing your taxes in March, you get a really quick return on investment. You get a return on investment in less than like 3-4 months. If you donate in January, you still can, but you have to wait till the whole next year to get the benefit in January. So December donations. Number 1 on the list. Not really number 1, but it's the first one, and Diane guessed it right. So
I have a question for you about donations.
okay.
So now in the past, was really surprised that if you donate to a political party, you get back most of what you donated. But why isn't it like that with other charities?
Why do you think it's like that? Who writes the tax
Because
laws?
otherwise nobody would ever give to politics. I don't know.
It's not true. People still donate, but it's also so I'm not sure why that it's what it is. I'm sure someone, because they write, someone writes the tax act or someone passes the tax bills and they're politicians that pass the tax amendments. Self-interest. It's okay to have self-interest in a way. It's very transparent. We all voted. Whoever's the governing body, we all voted for them, but the majority of Canadians voted for them. But that's a different topic for a different day. But on that note about, it's important too if you're in a if you're in a common law or a married in a marriage, and you're doing tax returns, and maybe you do them separately, but maybe you do them combined. Most tax software or your accountant can actually move. So Larry, so I use myself as an example. I use other people as an example, just use myself. It's okay. Not like I'm self-centered. I'm just using myself as an example. So for example, I make a donation, but my partner, I actually moved the donation over to her name on the tax return because you get more bang for the dollar. She's in a higher tax bracket than me. Not to tell you what tax bracket she's in, but she's in a higher one right now. She's in a higher one than me. So I can make a donation in my name, but because we're common law and we're reporting our tax return as a combined tax return, I can move my donation over into her name. And therefore, I'm getting more bang for the dollar because I'm lowering her taxable income because she's in a higher tax bracket. So it's always good too. So sometimes if people say, is there really any tax advantages for, like, one of my clients just got married and he's like, well, we're already filing common law returns. So getting married, there's not really much. But if you're filing separate returns and now you're married, there is a couple things that are beneficial. So donations is one. All right, next, I wish I would have written these down, Diane. I would know what number 2, 3, 4, and 5 are. Don't worry, I didn't forget. Number 2 is good. I'll save number 5. I'll save the confusing one to number 5. Number 2 is good. I just did this. I told you earlier something that I just did. If anyone was paying attention, Larry, were you paying attention to something that I said that I just ordered? What did I just order recently? Calendars. I ordered marketing materials. I may not send out those calendars until 2023. So when I did my talk to my room full of realtors on Monday, I said, hey, if your marketing material cupboard is a little bit light, a little bit low, and you have like your realtor flyers or something, like your postcards or something that you send out to clients or put on people's mailboxes or on windshields or whatever, a good time to go get that printed now. It's good because you're supporting local businesses that would probably like a little bit more business before the end of the year, but you don't have to put them all out in December. You can save them for 2023, but that expense, because you paid for it and you incurred that expense in December, ding, 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 tax deductible for 2022. Because most cases we're using the cash. Someone's like, oh, but what about the accrual method? I'm like, go, no, sorry, no, don't confuse people. Most people are experienced doing bookkeeping with the cash method, which means you recognize the expense when you pay for it. So because I paid for it, unless you're buying like tens of thousands of dollars of marketing material, you'd maybe like put it into inventory, but the average person's not. So you can just put that stuff into expense for 2022. So marketing materials, good thing like that. Office supplies, like don't go buy a whole bunch of crap though. I just was oh, it's a business expense, Larry. It's a business expense. I go buy a whole bunch of crap. It's on sale on Black Friday, and Staples keeps sending me stuff, and I might use it. Don't do that because it's cash. It's not about saving money. It's like I did that. I did a post. If you check out on LinkedIn, I did a little poll this morning about how much money did people spend on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. It's not about how much money you save. People say, oh, but I got 75% off. And I said, but you still spent $100. Yeah, it wasn't 400, it was 100, but you were still out $100. So I just have to let this person, they left, but they didn't want to leave. They came back. Okay, there you're back in. So don't go buy stuff and I was in this too, like in direct sales, and sometimes you keep like auto shipping and you have a whole closet or a whole basement or a whole garage full of product. Get that stuff out the door, man. Like don't buy stuff just because it's a deal and it's a business expense, because cash is still king. But I'm just saying, but if there's stuff that you're going to be ordering like in December, February, March anyway, December is a good time because it's tax deductible. So any kind of supplies like that. Number 3, so number 2 was supplies. And then,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep pressing the wrong buttons and leaving the chat somehow.
That's okay. I keep letting you back in. So
I appreciate that. You're doing it very quickly, so thank you. In terms of the donations in December, and you may have covered this, but again, I think I was getting through it out for it. dropped off at that moment. If you are on accrual basis, though, mainly not individuals but organizations, you want to keep those in January. I would presume, since you're using them in the next year.
But donations are a little bit different. So usually donations, so the organization is going to issue you a tax receipt. So donations are a little bit different. So you're going to use whatever year, whatever the date is for the donation. The donation.
Not the donation. Sorry, I'm getting confused. I'm like doing three things
Oh,
at once
the
and stuff.
office supplies.
The marketing and all that stuff. Yeah. For the
Yeah. So
next year.
again, if you're using the accrual method, so again, if I use my back like 2 years ago, I bought pens. I still have a whole bunch of them. I have a bag. I have like 2 bags of pens somewhere. I got them from Perfect Pen. So I bought 300 pens, and guess what? I expensed the whole $300 in that year. I probably still have 150 pens over there in the cupboard. So if I was doing the accrual method, you're right. I would kind of put that in as a prepaid expense, and then I would expense a portion of that over like months or over years. It's not $300 isn't really material.
If it's a material amount, right? Yeah.
But my point was, but if you were doing like, if you're use as an example back to my realtor example, if you're a realtor and you're doing, and now you've incorporated and you're doing, $200,000 plus a year in commissions, and you're buying $10,000 worth of marketing material, I would probably suggest that they recognize that, unless you're going to blow it all. Like most cases, you're going to blow that out. Like you're going to just send it out fairly quickly. But if it's something that you're buying 5 years of stuff, then yeah, probably using the accrual method is. And again, you can flip back and forth. You can use cash for most, and just for anything over like $1,000, you could use the accrual method to make sure, just in case IRS or Revenue Canada comes knocking and they're like, wow, let's open up your closet and you have like a whole bunch of stuff under your bed full of things, like maybe we should have used the accrual method for that. As long as you're
because I do have a few clients that use it kind of like mingled, mostly accrual, but some transactions use cash, because I just find out about them when they're recorded on the bank statement. So okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
No, you're most welcome. Good question. All right, number 3, right? So far we're donations, office supplies and stuff. Number 3, what do we want to make number 3? I had these all written down somewhere, but I misplaced my piece of paper. Number 3 is oh, I know what it was. People are leaving now because they're like, this guy's so unorganized. Number 3, don't worry about it. It's like number 3 is nobody's on a timer here. We're still good. Number 3 is capital purchases. Ooh, anyone know about capital purchases? Anyone want to guess what a capital purchase is?
Well, from a company structure, can't talk today, sorry. You definitely want to capitalize those, basically book it as an asset and depreciate them, month after month, year after year. So even though you're making the purchase today, let's say you buy, I don't know, some big property or big equipment, you necessarily wouldn't show that as an expense in year 1. That would be 2023.
Yeah, so I'll use my example as we're not speaking. Yeah, I think most people are pretty good. I think that was Lou's. Anyway, so for example, because he's here, he's joined us today, Mr. Gary Steele. Last year in December, I purchased a new computer for my business in December, and so because the computer was just over $500, I usually, for me and my strong recommendation for most of my clients is any purchase over $500 for your business generally gets. Maureen's here, so Maureen's going to make sure I'm following the tax laws, but that's okay. Good to see you, Maureen. I generally use the $500 guideline. If you buy a $200 printer, even though the printer is going to get more use in 1 year,
you're all arrogant. Because when I sit here as the richest person who's ever fucking talking to your fucking dumbass,
Whoa.
you don't fucking listen to me. Oh well, maybe he's wrong about your problem.
There we go. There we go. Anyway,
Was-
there's
was
always
that a
one.
hack?
I don't have. That's weird. So probably about the second time I've actually had someone who kind of stings around and stays for a while, but what happened to the other people? All right, everyone else is still here, I think. All right,
Mhm.
it's okay. Some people are just. Why did he take so long? We sat here for like half an hour.
I'm wondering if that
Anyways,
was, I'm
okay.
wondering
No
if that
one
was the
got too-
hack.
No one got too offended. It's fine. I thought I actually recognized the name, but that's why I left that. Anyway, back to you interrupting my train of thought. It's okay, squirrel. The garbage truck just went by. Back to capitalizing. So my printer. So if I got a printer, I don't actually have a printer, but if I bought a printer, then I'm probably gonna, unless it's like a really fancy one, I'm gonna expense it because generally what happens is if a printer breaks, are you gonna replace it? Most likely. So just out it goes. My computer, I'm going to get multiple years out of my computer. So my computer, I'm going to, and you said it was, we're going to depreciate it. So what happens is Revenue Canada, specifically Revenue Canada, but I'm sure the IRS does this as well, is there's asset classes. So the computer goes into a technology asset class, equipment over $500 asset class. And what happens is in the first year, you have the first year half year rule. So what happens is Revenue Canada specifically, they let you expense half the year in the first year. So even though I didn't purchase my computer until December, it doesn't take 1/12 of the depreciation. It actually lets me take half the year of the depreciation in the first year, even though I only used it for 1 month. So that's why it's really good to do. So don't worry about all that. That's a lot of mumbo jumbo and it's confusing. People are looking confused. The key thing is to say, like, if I'm going to purchase like a major asset for my business, even as a sole proprietor, partnership, sole proprietors, it's good to do it in December because you're only out of pocket, you only spent, and you'll get some of that tax money back in March, even though you only bought it in December. So good examples are computers, because everyone kind of needs a computer for their business. If you need a computer and you want to deal with someone local to the Toronto market, super good guy, Mr. Gary Steele, he ordered it. It was a Dell, so I got confused because I was looking to buy like on the Dell website, and I'm like, oh, like, what do I need? And then Gary, he actually ordered it from Dell. He set it all up for me, and I just had to meet him at Fairview Mall to pick it up. So if you're in the Toronto or kind of North Markham area, Mr. Gary Steele might be able to help you with your IT needs. Got all these shout outs to my people today. It's good. Hey, you're here. Why not? Okay, so number 3 was capital purchases. Number 4 is another good one. It's things that you need to spend that don't necessarily fit into those other categories yet. So a good example is if your car is in need of repair. So if you gotta get your snow tires on, like, do that in December. Don't wait till January. You can put your snow tires on in January, but if you do it in December, it's tax deductible this year and you're just gonna get the money back. Also, if you're registered for like HST, if you collect and pay HST, any kind of things that have kind of big ticket, so kind of big ticket items that might have GST on them, better do that in December. If you do that in January, you got to wait 14 months before you get your input tax credit on HST. If you do it in December, like all of a sudden, say your car needs brakes, do that expense in December. Don't wait till January, because why not? It's an expense, and you're going to expense it all in the month. So good to do it in the month of December. Also, another great way to support local businesses, because your mechanic's probably sitting there, oh, so it's twiddling his thumbs, and like, so it's pretty quiet time. If you need some work done on your car, December's a good time. Any other things too? Like I just spent 2 days this week doing what? What was I doing 2 days this week?
In London, you traveled.
Traveling, but yeah, that's not so much. But I spent also 2 days at the Account X conference. I paid $30 for my ticket. So December's also can be a good time for personal development. So it's kind of quiet time. People are kind of taking it a little easy. And if you want to do some learning, personal development is tax deductible if you're self-employed and you have a business. If you have a day job, it's not so much tax deductible, but if you have a business, personal development, take a marketing, but don't go take courses just for the sake of courses. Make sure they're relevant. Make sure you're actually going to have time to execute on them. Make sure you have time to do the follow-up. So don't go rapid fire. I was at 2 days last week at CPA Canada, did their financial literacy. So I was out Thursday, Friday, and then I was out on Monday, and I was out on Tuesday, and I was out Thursday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And all I got today, I'm like, I just sent a follow-up to this. Actually, if anyone's looking for, I'll do this little promo for this young gentleman after, but I'll save that. I'm just gonna put that there. He's not even here. I'm gonna give a promo for him. Super good kid.
Dwayne, how was that course that you just mentioned?
It was super good. And if you come next Friday for our monthly meetup, Maureen, I'm going to be sharing 4 things that I learned from my
Okay.
last 2 days. So you can,
Mhm.
you can avoid having to go there for a whole 2 days. You can just come for an hour next Friday and I'll share. And I'm going to actually share one extra item at the end of today about what I learned the last 2 days. All right. Okay. So number 4 was kind of major expenses and stuff like that. Number five is things like, number 5, because there's a 6 and I'll save 6 because 6 isn't relevant to everybody. Number 5 is relevant to everybody. So, your tax-free savings accounts. So in Canada, so if you're in the US, it's kind of like your Roth IRA.
Roth IRA.
Yeah, Roth. Yeah, spit it out already. You're Roth. But also kind of like your 401k. But here in Canada, we have the RRSP. So your RRSP deadline goes to March 1st. So not so important that you have to do it in December. However, your tax-free savings account contribution works off the calendar year. It's jumping up the annual amount. Contribution room jumps up to $6,500 for 2023. Oh, Diane, it's not boring. It's investing your money. Come on.
I haven't been
Okay.
sleeping
It's
lately. I'm
okay.
tired.
You're not yawning at me. She just needs some oxygen. All right, so give her some oxygen. Anyway, right, so your tax-free savings room contribution. So just make sure you're checking to say, make sure you know how much room you have. If you have extra room, you can contribute. And also, if you don't, make sure you don't over contribute. But also, if you're like me, and sometimes you end up having to do this. If you're going to do a withdrawal from your tax-free savings account, do it in December because you get that room back in January. So what happens is when we did our real estate transaction and we thought we had money all lined up, and then we forgot about a little thing called land transfer tax. And land transfer tax, for those that live in Toronto, you'll understand this is that it's ×2. So you pay transfer tax to Ontario and to the city of Toronto. Ouchie. So we had money and we didn't have, so we had money, but we just had to cash it out in the TFSA, took the money out. However, in January, I get all of that contribution room back. Unlike your RRSP, if you take money out of your RRSP in Canada, once you take it out, you don't get that contribution back. So it's a nice strategy for entrepreneurs and self-employed people to put money into your tax-free savings account because it gives you some wiggle room. If you need some money, you can kind of play around. It's not taxable when you withdraw it. And the earnings are not taxable either. So tax-free savings account, number 1. Number 2 is if you know any students, for example, my son's in his first year at Western. And if you start withdrawing from the RESP, Leslie, we're a little bit late for you because I think your daughter's all done her schooling. But in your daughter's case, when she was at McGill, I believe, it's a good time to kind of look to say, hey, we can, if you're going to pull some money out, kind of manage to say, like, for example, my son didn't have any taxable income this year on his own. So we pulled money out of his RESP. Some of that portion, the government grant and the earned portion, becomes taxable, but he has tuition. So it's a good time to kind of manage what for the 4 years while kids are in and out of school, to kind of review in December to say where are they in their tax brackets and possibly do a withdrawal. Just because you're withdrawing, it doesn't mean you have to spend it, right? You can take it out of their RESP, you can move it, put it into their TFSA if they have some room, or just put it in. What we did with my son is we took some out and we just put it in a separate in like a savings account. Now, you don't really make a lot of money, but we moved it from his daily checking account. It's a little bit shocking because all of a sudden an 18-year-old had a whole whack of money and has never had that much money in his bank account in his life. So we kind of moved it over there just so he didn't spend it. But then this week it's always good. So this is, again, this is a quick side note because we got the 5 done. So we got the first 5, we got the 5 done, but this little side note about why I'm going to do a quick little promotion for this guy at the books downstairs. But here's what happened is we're finally, like, my son's 18, is at school. So we're starting to make him a little bit more independent. So the money's in his bank account. So tuition was due yesterday for 2nd semester. So we called him on Sunday and said, hey, we had a quick call. I was like, okay, like, remember, so we got to take the money out of the savings account, put it into the checking account, and you're going to then set up Western as a payee. So you're not doing an e-transfer to them, but you set them up as a payee and tuition and stuff. So we got that all done and did that. And then he calls me last night at 5:30. Dad, I'm trying to transfer the money to pay. I'm trying to pay Western, and it says that it's over my limit. He's like, well, welcome to the road up world, Liam. And he's trying to do a one payment of about it's $11,000. So he's trying to make a one payment of $11,000. Now, set up as a payee, so it doesn't, so that shouldn't impact it, because if it's an e-transfer, there's caps like $2,000 a day. But if it's a payee, there shouldn't be a cap. And I said, well, I don't know, Liam, but you have that phone number on your Bank of Montreal client card called customer service. Call them. So he did. And this, again, giving them real life skills. Like, I could have called and find, but it's like, it's his account, it's his responsibility. So he called and found out that his limit was $10,000. Good to know. So now he made the $10,000 payment yesterday, and he just has to go in today and make the balance of $1,300 payment today. And they're not going to charge him late fees because, again, it's all good. But it's good because, again, so often we as parents probably go and jump through hoops. We kind of do this for them. But guess what? Time for them to start doing a little bit of this and coaching them through it. We walk through how to do it. And you got it done. So it's good. All right. Someone's asking me, do you not wait until, yeah. No, that's like 100%. I said, like, why not do this? So when I was in London on Tuesday, I kind of said, like, about Mondays, like, because he doesn't really have, he has classes. He doesn't have any classes until like Tuesday night. So he could have gone and done it on Tuesday. Like, he's sitting, Leslie can appreciate this. Leslie, the kids have to learn, right? Sometimes they have, like, Leslie's daughter is a little bit older. So it's like, you try, you do your best, but sometimes they have to learn about maybe not waiting until the last day when things are due. And the computer breaks.
The thing is with what I find with these 20-somethings, they have so much on the go, right? And they're like, I know with my daughter, like, she just gets so intense on one thing at a time, and you try to have her think about something else. It's really hard to get their attention. It's I don't know if other people have children that age, but it's yeah, it's an interesting struggle trying to get their attention for that education aspect.
Yeah, but it's also good that they can be they can be laser focused, right? Because sometimes, and then someone was saying about someone like multitasking, and it's like, we don't multitask well. Like, we're not humans. We're not designed, like, our brain is not a computer brain. Diane could probably explain this better, but we're not really like set up to multitask well. So just stop trying to multitask. Like, I got like 12 screens open right now. Like, don't do that. Just focus on here. Get this done. Get through number 5. So those were the kind of a makeshift. That was kind of the main 5. There is one. I forgot to survey the people in the room. This may not be relevant, but maybe people who are this, and you could tell them. It's a good time to remind them. So if you're incorporated, so if you're running a corporation, this is the time of year to figure out how much you're going to pay yourself. If you don't pay yourself during the year, and you kind of come and go, and like, but now's a good time to say, because you need to issue documents in the new year, so you have a little bit of time. So it's not such a tight deadline, but it is good time of year to do it, is to figure out, if you're in a corporation, did you pay yourself salary, declare some dividends, how much am I going to like how much does the corporation owe me for reimbursing expenses? A second bonus, it's in honor of my friend Maureen, since Maureen's here, it's a good time to get caught up on your bookkeeping. How the heck are you gonna know what your tax bracket is?
Say that louder. Say it louder.
It's a good time to get caught up in your bookkeeping, because how do you know whether you need to make any extra expenses, or how do you know if you're gonna owe somebody if you don't know what you paid already this year? So if you're not updated on your bookkeeping, now is the time to get that bookkeeping caught up. And Larry, I just saw my email, so it's an accounting position in Perry Sound. So if someone's looking for a job in Perry Sound, I would think about that at some point, like maybe in about another 10 years, I might think about like moving up to Perry Sound, but we just moved to the Danforth, so I'm not really too keen on relocating to Perry Sound right now. I may ask him if it's done remotely, but I'm not really looking for a job. I'm looking to grow my business. So on that note, we got a couple minutes, unless someone else has some more questions. Larry's just saying, don't wait till the last day. So yeah.
I have several questions.
Several questions. All right.
Well, one big question, should I say?
The first one's free, and then the second one, I'll give you my email, and you can just e-transfer me some money for questions 3 and 4.
You got it. You got it. Donation for the year.
Donations, yeah, a donation to me.
So I have a small accounting firm in New Jersey, and I'm considering taking on a Canadian real estate company at this point. It's a friend, and they've bought a few properties, and I offered to do their bookkeeping / accounting. I don't do tax. I have a CPA that I work with that does the tax side. But basically just questions regarding, I know it's similar, we're applying just IFRS code, but like some major things that I should be on the lookout for, especially when it comes to just the bookkeeping side of it. And you touched on some of them already, but anything else you could think of that I should?
Yeah, probably my best suggestion is what you can do is 2 things, just to save time for everyone else, because it's probably boring to them. You can just click on the Calendly link, even though it says 15 minutes, you can book a time and like next week and we can chat. Also, I do a monthly meetup group for CPAs and accountants and bookkeepers, which is next Friday. So you can also come to that. But you can also just email me some questions, and I can answer some specific stuff around real estate.
Oh, so Dwayne, I just wonder, I haven't heard you mention this, but when people take money out of the RRSP, it's only, if it's under 5,000, they only take 10% tax. If it's over, they take either 15 or 20, and that money goes into income, and it might shoot you up into another tax bracket, and then you have to come up with the difference in the tax.
That's a good point, Maureen. So it's it kind of goes back to knowing my room. So when I did a presentation last week at the library, going back to financial literacy in person, and it was how to manage your money in retirement. So there was 5 seniors who were retired. So that's a good point. Kind of manage. This is also, December's not too late, but kind of a good time to also manage the income side if you are retired, because maybe you can take out, depending where your tax bracket is, you can take out a little bit more out of if you're in an RSP or if you're in a RIF. So just really quick, if you're under the age of 71, you still have RSP, and you don't have to wait till 71 to start taking some money out. You can start taking some money out depending if you're in a lower tax bracket. If you're in a RIF, there's kind of the minimum withdrawal amount, but you can take out some more. Just as you take it out, it comes into taxable income. So it's kind of balancing it out. So it's good to sit down. It's a good time of year before tax season. Good time of year now is to sit down with your local tax preparer or accountant and kind of look at what your revenue is for 2022 to say, hey, do I want to take out a little bit more? Don't wait till you're dead. It kind of sounds like good, but I had a colleague call me she had some questions, and her mom passed away in September of last year. So in 2022, they collapsed her RIF of $400,000 and they sold her house for $1.8 million. So all, and that on that 1.5, 1.8, anyway, it triggered about a $400,000 capital gain on the house sale. And you'd be like, what? I thought you said it was a principal residence. Yeah, but what happens is any gain after the declaration of death, so you kind of assess the value of the home at the date of death. Any appreciation of that house afterwards is now in the estate and is subject to capital gains. So they valued the house on death at about $950,000, and then they sold it for $1.8 million. So that $900,000 gain was taxable at 50%. So that's about $450,000 worth of taxable income on top of a $400,000 full withdrawal out of the RIF. So her passed away mother, the following year's taxable income is like $800,000. Ding, ding, ding. That's a 53% tax bracket. It's about a $400,000 tax liability. That's not great tax planning. If they had an accountant or a financial advisor, I'd be firing them right away because that was not good tax planning. The mother was like, I'm not sure why she passed away, but it, regardless, like when you start getting into like your 80s and like 80s, not that you're going to die, but when you start getting into your 80s, you start to do some more tax planning. Before you get to 80, it's also a good time to do tax planning because you save all this money and you think you're going to pass it on to your family. And then you forgot that I don't know, it doesn't matter about my political opinion, but you didn't realize that Revenue Canada was a family member and Revenue Canada got just as much money as your family did on that final tax return. So ouchie. Okay. One quick, we got a couple of minutes yet. Oh, Larry put my YouTube channel there too. That's nice of you, Larry. One quick, here's a couple quick tips of things that are working for me really well right now in my business that I can just share with you. I'm just gonna find it here in a second. Actually, I have to change my address. So let me just share, copy link. So one thing is with my business, again, it's tricky because sometimes people don't want to actually use their home address, but for example, you can have like a virtual office somewhere. But I have my Google listing. And last year, this past tax season, 19 of my clients gave me a 5-star review. That's some really nice, I didn't even pay them, like they paid me and then they still said nice things about me, but in their own words. And all I did at the end of the tax season is said, hey, how did this year go? And then I sent them a link, super easy. I sent them the link to leave a review. And they did 19 times. The nice thing is we know that Google likes Google. And what does Google do? Google does what they do is they say, hey, if you have a review, then you must exist. And therefore they bump you up on the Google listing. So if someone goes to Google and now it's even, you don't even have to go to Google, you can just be in Maps, Google Maps, and you could type in tax accountant near me and it will pop up. So I actually have gotten like a handful of clients in the last couple of months, complete strangers, and I asked them, hey, how did you find me? And they said, hey, from your Google listing. Perfect. Someone said, and then I have moved, and she's like, oh, I thought you were in the St. Lawrence market area. I'm like, oh, I just moved to Danforth. She's like, well, I want a local accountant. I'm like, how local do you want? It's like only 20 minutes. But anyways, I have to change my address so that I start getting people in the Danforth as clients. But strongly recommend if you can, setting up, it's free, setting up a Google listing for your business. Why not? Okay, so that's number one. That's a extra bonus. Number two was I was at the conference this week. Maureen, I'll give you a quick teaser. So this is more for accounting people, but it may not be. So there was a quick little teaser. So there was a gentleman there and he did about funnels and how to create 7 funnels for your business. So Larry, we'll do this really quick for Larry because I'll customize it for it could be good for Gary too and Maureen, possibly Diane and Leslie as well. So really quick, you guys got time? You open to receiving a little bit more? All right, and then I'm gonna send you a bill. So it's like sending a blank check. Just send me some love if you like. After the fact, if you,
Just
oh, you're on
curious.
mute or something, Diane, I can't hear you.
No, I'm not muted on this end.
Okay, now you are. You're good.
I'm just curious to know, is this like a ClickFunnels funnel?
Nope, not funnels, and that's it. Doesn't have to,
Oh.
doesn't even require technology. It requires a
Okay,
spreadsheet.
I was just
You can use a
curious.
you can use a spreadsheet, or you can use
All
paper
right.
and pen. I suggest paper and pen. Make it really tech friendly, non-tech.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the promise. Okay, so because I usually always over deliver, and then go, oh great, and then they come back and like, did you do it? Nope. I'm like, well, what a waste of time. All right, so your promise is, I'm gonna give you 7. Don't do all 7. What you're gonna commit to is it's gonna take about 5 more minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. So what you're gonna commit to, if you're gonna stay here for 10 more minutes, at the end of the 10 minutes, you're going to commit to one. You're going to say, because you can't really know until I give you all 7, which one you're going to do. You're going to write down, like, you're going to pick one of the 7 and you're going to try it in December. Don't wait till January. You're going to try it in December. Everyone good? Game? If you're not game, then I'm going to kick you out. No, you can stay because I'm recording it. So you can always watch the recording if you have to go. If you have to go, I'll keep the recording going so then you can just fast forward to the end. And you can get the 7, and then you can pick one, and then just try it. I'm going to. I started it already. Okay, so the idea is, where do you find how do you find new clients, new customers? I might even find my notes on how I wrote these 7 down, because I don't know if I can remember all 7 off the top of my head. But we'll start with one. Okay, so the first one is, how many people have ex-clients? Anyone have an ex-client? Client that you, not one of those clients that you're like, oh, and yeah, yes. And he actually said, the guy that his name's Bennett, or anyway, doesn't matter. If you want to follow up on him. Anyway, so he's like, not the ones that you celebrate when they leave, and you're like, pop the champagne. He's like, oh, I'm so glad I got rid of that bookkeeping client that like they gave me their shoebox. Not those ones. Like, don't follow up with those ones. The ones that you kind of like, you're just not sure why they left, or maybe they went, maybe you don't know. You never followed up. You don't do a disengagement review. But just a client that was like, so Leslie, could be someone, hey, that did like something from Purium. So they bought some stuff before. They did 2 years ago, they did a 10-day cleanse and they had some great results, but they just fell off the map. Good time in December to reach out to them. Say, hey, just catching up. Like, how are things going? Larry, maybe you had someone that used to have some insurance and then somehow they aren't buying from you anymore. Just say, hey, just curious, like, how's it going? How was your 2022? Like, would you be interested in having a conversation? Follow up on a next customer. Number 1. Okay, number 1. Don't worry, I'll send you. All right, anyway, so number 2 is anyone do proposals? So Larry, Gary, you maybe do proposals. So someone, maybe you did a quote, maybe you did a proposal, maybe not. Maureen, maybe you gave a proposal. Larry, you probably do a bunch of proposals, right? So do you have any proposals where you're just like, never heard from the person? Never became a customer, right? Now's a good time to follow up. Even if it was a year ago, it's like, hey, just go through the archives. Like, hey, just curious. Maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe they just kind of fell off. Maybe they got sick. Maybe it got lost in the email. Imagine that. An email, lost an email. Imagine that.
You know what? That's a good point, Dwayne, because a few weeks ago, I had a call with this person. Yeah. And they were very interested. We're going to talk to their partner. So I said, okay. So I took their email and I sent them like, thanks for contacting me, blah, blah, blah. Waiting to find out, when we can get started. So the person messaged me back and said, okay, I talked to my partner. We're really interested, blah, 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 blah. So I said, okay. So I sent them like my welcome package to get started with, all the stuff I needed. And I didn't hear from them for like 3-4 days. So that was last week. So this week, I think on Monday, I was going through my stuff and I thought, oh, I'm going to send him another email to make sure he got my package. And I got an email back just this morning saying, I was looking everywhere for that package. I found it in my spam, but now we've been talking to other therapists. So we're going to decide and we'll let you know in January. So it worked against me because even though I followed up the week after, they thought they hadn't heard from me all week.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
you
good.
never know if your stuff. So now what I'm thinking, what I decided to do is to text people once I message, I send an email.
Yep.
And that actually, I did that today actually, because I had new clients booking today. And I sent them an email saying, just making sure you got my package. We learn, right, from these things. In all my years of business, I've not had that happen. And then it just happened like this past couple of weeks.
And it goes back to like people just get busy. So it's like, is it a priority? It's like some of the stuff that we do is a priority, but it's a priority to us and not like kind of lower on the priority list to them. And the amazing thing is I actually, just a quick side note, I blew the dust off it the other day. So I had this, you guys know where I live. I can just, maybe you don't know where I live. So there.
No.
You can see the new background. I got the whole 3rd floor to myself now. Charmaine's downstairs. You can't even hear her anymore, right, Diane? Have you heard Charmaine at all today?
Not at all.
She's working downstairs. That's so beautiful. When we were in our condo, it was a bit distracting because you could hear Charmaine talking in the background, and for people, it's like, hey, I hear voices, and it's like, don't worry, it's just Charmaine. Don't hear it all because she's downstairs. She's on the 2nd level, so I got this whole space to myself now. Super great. Don't worry, I'm gonna be inviting people over later. So it's a Rocket book, so it's really cool. It's like $30-$40, but the cool thing is I have all my notes, and I can go and I can open up the app. I take a photo and it automatically converts it to a PDF and sends it to my email. So yeah, like the other day last week when I was at my CPA conference, I wrote all these notes down on these hotel notepads because I didn't bring this with me. I'm like, that's nice, but Larry, we talked about this, right? Like, oh, there's all my notes, and I'm like, but this, it will scan it, and then there's like these, you can't see them, but there's these little codes down here. And then depending on, you can actually set up like multiple different emails or different things that you want, and Rocketbook will actually direct it. It's not as fancy. It's not like there was a guy beside me, he had like a markable one. It was like a tablet. Those things are about $600. I'm like, I don't need that much tech. This one, because I still like the pen and paper. I still like going to things, and I like writing. I'm kind of old. I'm an old soul. It's shiny though, so you just have to be careful. And the nice thing is they're erasable. So there's a cloth. Once I'm done, I can wipe this all clean and start fresh.
It's sort of like a whiteboard.
Like a whiteboard, but it actually also has in here, there's also, don't worry, I don't get paid by these guys either. There's a calendar one, so you can actually create, like there's a calendar page. This is their, anyway. So I found my list of 7. So we got lost proposals, lost proposals, ex-clients, ex-inquiries. So maybe someone had maybe Leslie, you just had a conversation with someone. So you just had a conversation with them. They didn't become a client, they didn't do a proposal. Same with you, Larry, you had a conversation, but no one, it didn't really go anywhere yet. Follow up with them. Maybe they've lost your email, maybe they lost your phone number. You don't know. Be proactive. Don't sit and wait. Be proactive. It's your business. Okay, that's number 3. How are we doing? Anything good so far? Maybe? All right. Number 4, current clients. Hey, what if someone bought a boat? They just bought an ATV, they bought a side-by-side, they bought a snowmobile. They're about to get their snowmobile out of storage for the winters. Like, hey, did you remember to put the insurance back on it? Maybe they put their car away for the winters. Like, hey, you can just put like fire and theft on it. You don't need collision if you put it in a storage locker. I don't know, just all ideas.
Dwayne, you just reminded me of something that I was doing and I didn't do it this year. I totally forgot. Is I remind my clients, usually I start around October.
Yeah.
Have you applied for the disability tax credit? Because if you have ADHD, I have a client who got over $10,000 back because they went back to when he was actually diagnosed.
Yep.
And
No,
you
super
have
good.
to make
One of
sure
my
that
clients.
you have to make sure that your doctor fills out the paperwork properly or you won't get that. But I have a person that I work with who actually helps my clients do that.
Oh, nice.
No, you reminded me, I didn't do that this year.
Yeah. All right. It's okay. Still time. can do
Yeah.
that could be yours in December, right? We said you all promised you were going to do something in December. All
Yeah,
right. So number 4 is current clients. So it also like everyone has a current client that you could say maybe offer some, and I'll give you some other ideas after, but current clients. Okay. Number 5 is different people refer to different things. Some people call them coins, different things. But it's called center of influences. So I did this recently because before the municipal election, we were still living in Etobicoke and I wasn't in my new riding yet. But I went online and I figured out who's my city councilor. His name's Brad Bradford. Young guy, he's like in his 30s. We used to work for the city. He's an urban planner. He has a master's degree in urban planning. Turns out his constituency office is just around the corner on the Danforth. We walked by it the other day. We walked all the way from Maine to Woodbine, and we walked by his office. I reached out to him on LinkedIn. We're LinkedIn connections. So I have that as a list of someone that was he going to become a tax client? No, but if I want to do financial literacy stuff and I want to find out like what businesses, like who's who in the Danforth area, I think the counselor might know, probably. So that's just one example. Centers of influence could be like your business association, just different people who already refers clients, like who already refers people to you. Take them out for lunch. Merry Christmas. Let's hook up for lunch. We can meet in person. All right, number 6. Number 6, ready? It's I'm gonna do number 7 first. Sorry, I'm gonna skip 6. Doesn't really matter. You can make the 7 6. Don't worry. Number 7 is, anyone do any marketing? Anyone do proactive marketing? Anyone have like an email list? Anyone have a Facebook account? Anyone have a LinkedIn account? Yeah, December is a good time to do some proactive marketing. Maybe offer a special. I do this. I'm going to do this again. It's like, hey, if you pay for your tax return in December, you can have 2022 prices. We're not actually going to do the work till 20. So I'm not going to recognize it as revenue till 2023. But it's a business expense for you in 2022. And I'll hold 2022 prices if you pay in December. What does it do? What is it called? It's called cash flow. If I have to wait till March for all my clients to pay me, I'm like, how do I pay my bills in January and February? My clients don't pay me till March and April. You could have them prepay you in December. Proactive marketing was number 7, but I made it 6. Number 7, timely for December, whether you're Christian or whatever, or whether you celebrate Christmas or not, December is a good festive time of year. Who's on your wish list is number 7. Who's on your wish list? Who's your ideal client? Who are you like? Who have you been following? Who have you been like wishing on? Who have you been like not stalking, but kind of stalking on Facebook, LinkedIn, in your business area, on your neighborhood? Maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's a relative, maybe it's like some big business. Who is on your wish list? Who would you love to have as a client? Dan, you can find some celebrity who's like outed themselves that have like ADD or ADD, and it's like, wow, I'd love to have that celebrity as a client.
that's true. But you know what I was going to say when you were saying festive times, it's a good time to have a little Christmas party for your clients. I used to do that when I had an office. In December, I would have a little party for my clients and I would give away like 30-minute free coaching session or give them things that were pertinent to them.
Yeah. Also, if you have employees, if you have employees, could be you and your wife or partner. You go out for Christmas and all employees are invited. 100% tax deductible. You can do it 6 times a year. You can take out employees 6 times a year and it's 100% tax deductible, not just meals and entertainment 50%, because it's a company event. It's a company event. You can do that 6 times a year. I was a big splurger. We went to Hamilton on Monday night for a colleague and a client. she did a 50th birthday cabaret celebration. She actually was at Hamilton at the Westdale Theater in Westdale in Hamilton. Cute little theater. She had over 200 people show up. She sold tickets. I sponsored her. I'm like, oh, I could buy tickets or I could sponsor. So I paid an extra bit. I paid $250. I got my 2 tickets. And then she put my name on all of her print material, on all her posts. She kept saying Dwayne Richards CPA down at the bottom. I don't know if I get any clients or not. Who cares? It was good to do. So we drove to, I drove to Hamilton, met Charmaine, Burlington. We went out for dinner. And yesterday was Charmaine's birthday. So I said, hey, let me buy dinner because you're a client. I can take you out for dinner. I'm taking out a client for dinner and it's tax deductible. Don't call me cheap. I'm very strategic in my who my clients are. Okay, so those are the 7 things. That was from a gentleman, and it was really good. So there's a whole nother, if people want, you had to book time with me, I'm going to charge you, but there's a whole how you actually do a grading system. So you put that into, and then he talks about that's step 1. So step 1 is going through that list. Step 2, Maureen, is really relevant to you. You show up next Friday, Maureen, you show up, we'll do this. Step 2 is actually graded them A, B, and C. But how do I grade them? Well, that's step 3. And he talks about the accounts, and it's an acronym, accounts. And it stands for ACCOUNTS. Yeah, what does that mean? Like, that's not free. That's valuable stuff. But it just talks about going through, and it's not a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 0 or a 10. You can either do it or you can't. And it gives you a rating of 80%. And the idea is once you go through all of these people that you identify from this list, you give them, Larry, you give them, they all of a sudden have a score between 0 and 80. And he says 20%, you can't predict 20%, but you can predict the other 80. And it's not like 1, 2, 3. No, it's either you can do it, as an example. Do the people, so you could have identified a former client, right? Leslie, you could have formed a former client, and you're going to put them on a new program. It's $300. Do they have the cash or not? They don't have the cash. Doesn't matter how good your offer is. They don't have the cash. They can't buy. Same with Gary. Gary, you can go back and requote someone a nice new computer, big setup, like $3,000. They don't have the cash. It's a no, just on the cash. So you could still have all the other things, but then cash is 0. Same with Diane. If you do a quote for someone and it's like $3,000, can they afford?
It's a little different when you're doing therapy because
know,
I
but still.
believe, yeah. So,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
still,
little
but do they have the cash or not? So that's the C of accounts. But if you really want to try this, I'm going to be doing it myself. Larry's going to go.
Hi, Larry.
But we'll just do a follow-up Zoom in December this month. But so your homework was to pick one of the 7, and in the chat, I'm going to follow up with Larry. Don't worry. I'm going to follow up with Larry because he's coins, but I'm going to make sure that Larry picks one of the 7. So you're still here. So now your job is to pick one of the 7. So it's lost proposals, ex-clients, inquiries, current clients, centers of influence, marketing, or wish list. Which of the 7, which one are you going to try? Not try, you're going to do it. Diane, which one?
Well, I'm going to pay my accountant this month.
Pay my accountant this month. Hey, that sounds good. All right, I like that idea.
I've also, no, actually there was 2. Wait, one was on the other page. What did I write? Yeah, there are, and I do this about every 2 months, but it's a good reminder to do it in December. I sometimes don't follow up with people in December. I always think they're busy and all that stuff, but there's also a lot of people who struggle through the holidays. So I thought, you know what, that's a good point. And
Also,
I'm going to follow up on a few people who either are past clients or who did not go through and get something. What I like to do with those clients who didn't, who said they were going to look around, a couple months later, I like to check with them and say, hey, have you found help? Because
Also a
for
good
me,
time.
that's
if-
all I want to know, right? If they found help and they're happy, fine, but if they didn't, then let's talk what's going on, right? Because a lot of people with ADHD want help, but they're having a hard time getting out there to get it.
All right, I'm gonna just stop the recording.